Well, good afternoon. Let's get all straightened up here. Welcome to Lions of the Desert podcast. I'm Shoeshine Mike. We're going to be talking about a few things going on with our boys there. The Detroit Lions, to listen to the media, they're not going to go anywhere this season. Apparently, they had no wherewithal in the Hall of Fame game there last week against the San Diego Chargers. I'm going to have thoughts on the three players I still thought played very, very well. We got to get a good look at them and see how they'll fit into the team. The Lions folks are just very, very, very pleased and happy with the people there. Now, you had the other guys, Stroud, all right, made mistakes. There were interceptions. Kyle Allen didn't look all that good. Hendon Hooker. Um, excuse me. It's just kind of hard to evaluate the whole thing. And everywhere I turn on for different podcasts and what have you, Locked on Lions and PFF, pardon me, Pro Football Focus, they're writing us off on the Hall of Fame game. We're getting written off on the first preseason game of the year. Some of their criticisms were halfway decent. I could see that, but you have people who just have not played, and all of a sudden they're on a national spotlight, and that just made for a whole different ballgame. But a couple of things I want to mention is the fact that we were down at the Detroit Coney Grill, okay, and right there on 6953 North Hayden Road, and just south of Indian Bend. Dave Nager was there. He came by for a few moments. We talked about it. We were following the game, and there wasn't much to cheer about. Anything, there just wasn't. You got to give Trey Lance credit because for his little spot in there, the man looked pretty good. The man looked good. I can't dispute it. I can't argue it. He looked just fine going in there, but he had the receivers. When it was basically the very, very draft wise or whatever you want to say, bottom of the Lions workers, right? The ones who hadn't played before. Let's see who we want to keep, who we don't want to keep. That was really a lot of fun. I was also really glad to see my subscribers coming in. Cole Louderman, Eric Barrera, and Paul Kettner, all from Arrowhead BMW, stopped by to have some dogs, to have some sandwiches, and have a good time. I love what they said about the Detroit Coney Grill. It was the most relaxing atmosphere. The people who were there, you could tell, are very, very, very strong Lions fans. They were the ones that wanted to be there. But everybody was there for one big reason, not only, but me. Football's back. All right. We're in the middle of preseason. We go to Atlanta Friday. Now, the next three preseason games, I can't be there. I'm working. The last two games, the Miami game and the Pittsburgh, I think it's Pittsburgh. But anyway, they're at 10 o'clock on Saturday mornings, and that's when my other radio shows on AM 1100 KFNX. Well, if you're not doing anything Saturday mornings, AM 1100 KFNX, the Shoeshine Mike Radio Hour, and we have a great time on the show. So I can't make that because I'm regularly working. But through the rest of the season, every game I can be at, I will be at. Very few I will miss. Of course, Thanksgiving and Christmas, they're holidays and the place is closed. There are some that, let me think. There was one that's in a way of something else I have to do. Yeah, there's an event I have to go to. And that's that Thursday night game with Dallas Cowboys on Prime Video. I come up and I look at the Lions schedule right now. The opening schedule, I'm seeing the Packers in Lambeau. Okay, they're okay. It's preseason. I'm not going to judge anything till the first game like everybody else. I've had my own selections for division winners, which I'll come out with in a few more minutes. I want to talk about us, the Detroit Lions and the depth and their lines. We've got to see pretty much how these guys got to go. It's just the way it's going to be. I'm loving all of it myself because it's football. And I was watching some training camp videos that we had done over there in Allen Park. And there's players that stand out. And I'm watching two of our receivers doing some route running. All right. Jameson Williams is cutting, running routes, and catching the ball every time from one said Jared Goff. They looked good. But Amon St. Brown has added something. I don't know what it is, what he's been practicing at or what he's learning to do. But I'll tell you what, dang it, he's moving. He was moving right along. He's making catches I haven't seen him make. For the few years he's been here, I think 4 years now, And we've seen him do all kinds of miracle catches. That one in the end zone against Minnesota and the one against San Francisco was just fantastic. And he was just moving right along. That, by the way, the one game from last year I watched the most when I want to watch a game is the San Francisco game. It's the one where Dan Campbell said we're going full throttle. It was an excellent ball game, and Kirby Joseph with the 2 interceptions, and that team is still pretty much intact. But to watch Amon St. Brown in that game and in other games, the way he's been playing, it's pretty outstanding stuff, folks. It really is. And when I watch training camp too, that O line, which everyone's given us business about because Frank Ragnow retired, I've got my own little lineup on it. And Graham Glasgow will be the center. He's a good center. He trusts Jared Goff. Jared Goff trusts him. Grant was very, very good. He covered 38 games for Frank Ragnow when he was injured in the past couple of years. Glasgow, of course, Michigan boy, played right tackle at Michigan. Did a little bit of center while he was there too, and but still, he looks like he's got the part down. Until said such replacement can be made, they're really looking at Ratcliffe for the new center. But he'll be the right guard along with Penei Sewell. And then you got, I think, the most improved player that's going to be this year is Christian Mahogany. Christian Mahogany is taking that step up. He just is going to be good. And, of course, Taylor Decker. And if Decker can't make it, you got Manu, big old Manu. And then further on down the line, I mean, the receivers with St. Brown, Jameson Williams, Tim Patrick, and the other one who looked good at preseason, Latessa, our Hudsonville, Michigan boy. I mean, he's big, he's strong. He's the Cooper Cup 3.0 because he's bigger and stronger, and he runs and he shakes off tackles. You know, the Chargers, they got him. He had the highest PFF grade of anybody, and that's not saying a whole lot. But he actually did very, very well. I want to thank everybody for coming to Detroit Coney Grill last Thursday night. It was a whole lot of fun. But also, we were showing the games and having a pretty good crowd down there in Gilbert, too, at 1422 West Warner Road. I know there's dining room service, pretty much the same menu. All they're great food. And when these guys came down and visited, they all had the burgers and went crazy. They're talking about those burgers to everybody else where they work and people they run into, and they're coming back. I know that Cole will be there they're all coming back for the Sunday night games, as a matter of fact. Yeah, they'll be there. One Monday night game with the Baltimore Ravens, week 3, and then Kansas City, and then the Eagles when they had their Sunday night games, which ought to be barn burners in that joint. Because there's a lot of Eagles fans, there's a lot of Chiefs fans around here, and there's a whole lot of everything around here. Phoenix, like a lot of cities out west, total melting pot of the Midwest and the East. So when we have the Giants, we got the Steelers, of course, the Bears, Vikings, and Packers. It's going to be a fun time this year. But I'm still looking at the Detroit Lions to not only win the division, they'll be in a strong, strong hunt for the playoffs. They'll win a division, get a home game. And I'm happy with that. Let's take it from there. I hate it when everything's so over expectations. Last year, they were at the number 1 seed with 31 people on the IR. Just couldn't break that. So that little bit of an introduction is fairly, fairly good. We're going to get into some games. I got to go little boys room real quick. We'll get into some games. Hang tight. We'll be talking some more. I'm going to bring up some of the points that Dave Nager made. He had some, I'm not even going to call them guesses. I'm going to call them looking into the future things, because we're also going to talk about Zadarius Smith, who is in Detroit right now, and having talks with Brad Campbell. That's about right. Or Dan Holmes. But with Brad Holmes on coming back to the Lions. And I think they're going to take it down to the wire. And the biggest reason I think is because Zadarius Smith does not want to go to training camp. If he wants to go in there, he wants to skip training camp and then go at the start of the season. And I think Brad Holmes is ready to pay him for it. But we got the lucky plug nickel on that whole defensive team is Hassanin, pardon me. And I can't wait to see that kid. So I'm going to take a quick break. And please hang tight. I'll be right back. Oh, shit. We're out of batteries, too. Just a thought. things happen. You just have to keep going. Well, the batteries went out. Yeah. What did I do? Huh. There we go. Right away, you say, how's that? See, fresh batteries. Oh, thank you for that. Found out that we had run out of um, the batteries around in the microphone, so I apologize for a few of the things I was saying earlier, and I hope you caught it. So what I'm going to do is end the stream and restart. Maybe the things I mentioned though were good stuff. We were talking about the Hall of Fame game, and it was not the prettiest sight you ever saw, even for an exhibition game. Um, a lot of mistakes, which are common, a lot of drop balls. Stroud on that return just didn't cover the ball up and lost it. So you want to have that. You want to have the protection of the ball. So we'll see. It's going to come. It's going to come together. I don't see us losing or lacking anything at all. I'll go position by position for the Lions. Let's start with defense. Um, it's going to be an interesting defense. All right, you got Calvin Shepard, who's now the DC, and Aaron Glenn's got his hands full in New York. I could see that already. But you look at our defense. Let's start up front, of course. Aiden Hutchinson, right edge. Marcus Davenport on the other side. It could be Cesario Smith. We don't know. Okay, he might sign a contract. He's in Detroit right now. He and Holmes are talking. I like that. I like that a lot because he's there. Now the other thing on the inside. Okay, you're gonna have Williams. I think Cater Williams, whatever. But Williams from Ohio State is going to be one of the inside defensive tackles. He'd be with DJ Reader and JD Reader, pardon me. And I think two of them will be Aleem McNeil, one of my favorite players in the world. He'll be back probably September, October sometime. He was injured, and I can't wait for him to come back. It's just a joy to watch. A joy to watch play the game. You go to the linebackers. Anzalone's come back. Now he got signed a 1-year contract. He got a good amount of money, and he got a lot of bonuses in there. All right. So they picked him up for 1 year. And if he has a knockout year, they'll sign him for another year. But they're not going to go long-term contract. He's 31 years old, and he's been injured pretty strongly lately. So I can see them making that kind of a deal. But you have Anzalone back there with Jack Campbell. Jack Campbell is now, I'm going to think, at the pinnacle of his career. He's now going to start the prime of his career. He spent a couple of years there. He's learned everything. He's the green man. He calls the plays on the defense. He's get everybody ready. He's in on almost every play and tackles like a machine. I like this guy. He's going to be strong. Derek Barnes is there. We don't know what other linebackers will start. I'm looking at them as the starters: Anzalone, Campbell, and Barnes, and we'll see how that does there. We go back to what I think is going to be the cream of the Detroit defense this year, and that's the back. That is the back of the defense. And of course, you got Brian Branch and Kirby Joseph right there. You've got other safeties ready to come right on in. You got Malik Robinson as either a safety or a cornerback. He was fantastic in that Minnesota game and just held Justin Jefferson to nothing. Your best in the world. And Terran Arnold in the back and J.D. Reed. So you're going to hear me mess up a little bit between the J.D. Reader and the J.D. Reed. I'll warn you ahead of time. But Reed, that quiet, beautiful signing cornerback from the Jets, and was always in the shadow of Sauce Gardner and what have you. He is now going to come right out on his own, and I think he and Arnold are going to be good back there in the cornerbacks. Arnold had to pay it the hard way. He was thrown right out into the wolves, as is the Dan Campbell way. Had a lot of penalties at the beginning of the season last year, and really, really was coming into his own towards the end. Towards the end of the year, he was coming into his own really well. I love the back defense. I do. I just think it's going to make the big difference on the defensive side. If we get the rushers in there, and they're pretty good, folks. Get a good rushing line, and I cannot wait to see the appearance of Hassanin as a pass rusher. He's built just like Aiden Hutchinson, has the motor just like Aiden Hutchinson. Why he was passed so far in the draft, I can't see that. I can't. Even if they would get him to have him for death, this kid's a monster. He's a Dan Campbell guy through and through, and he'll be just fine. Let's go to the offense. Jared Goff. You can't say enough about Jared Goff. He has come out as one of the really premier quarterbacks in the league. Everybody always says he couldn't play in bad weather or play outdoors. We were 8-0 on the road last year, okay? And the stadiums that we had to play in that were supposed to be cold and rainy, Green Bay comes to mind immediately. That was an excellent game for Jared Goff. And of course, Soldier Field. And when we went to San Francisco, that was a good one. That was a really, really good one. That was a good game. They played everything they could on San Francisco. It was the last game of the season for them. Um, it was just a great game. Great game. Kirby Joseph coming through. It was just outstanding. And the offenses are great. Neither defense was very, very well until we had the interception. So that was pretty cool. But you got, all right. So now we're talking about the offensive line. I'm going to go through that one more time. The center is going to be starting as Graham Glasgow. He played 38 games for Frank Ragnow when he was hurt. Ragnow, of course, is retired. God bless him. He played his heart out for years. He was the number one center for a long time in the league and deservedly so. So he's out fishing up probably Houghton Lake or somewhere up there in Michigan. And then we go to the right side. So you got Graham Glasgow, the kid from Georgia, Radcliffe, the mullet. A Dan Campbell guy like no one's business is going to be an excellent right guard. He's right next to Penei Sewell, the left tackle. That side is going to be just great. Now, the bigs on the other side, yes, Taylor Decker's there. He's going to go another year or two, maybe. Okay, you got Manu backing him up. You got a couple of good men in the back. But Christian Mahogany, I think, is going to be the big jumper this year on the Lions. I see two players that are really, really going to just blow people's minds. Christian Mahogany and Jameson Williams. We'll get up to him in just a moment because he's gained some weight. He looks awesome. He really just does. And it's going to be very cool. So there's the O-line. The receivers we have. Amon St. Brown. Okay. You can't say enough about him. I've watched him in training camp. He has made some catches that were just outstanding. Then you go over to Jameson Williams, like I said, one of the most improved players. He is now, as in Dan Campbell, as in Jameson Williams, as a few other players, are really starting to go into their prime. They really are starting to go into their prime. Kirby Joseph added to that list. Led the league in interceptions last year. Jamar Gibbs and Montgomery. Your running backs. You can't do better than that. That's the best duo in the NFL as far as running backs, as is the best safeties, Kirby Joseph, Brian Branch. That's it, period. End of story. So you got that. Then you go out, tight end Sam Laporta. Now, I see LaTesla. All right, LaTesla, that receiver in there, as another. He's a tight end. He's so big. So I see him as the tight end that Campbell always wanted to put next with Sam Laporta, right? They'll both be the quarterback's best friend. They'll both be the checkpoints. So your check are going to be the tight ends, and they're blocking tight ends. Both of them block like crazy. And that's where Brock Wright is still in there too. He blocks very, very well. And doesn't he have the habit of making the right catch at the right time? He's done that through his whole career with Detroit. That Jets game comes to mind immediately when he got the final touchdown to beat the Jets a couple of years ago. But he just shows up at the right time. So you got your tight ends, you got your line, you got your receivers, you got a grade A quarterback. The Lions will win the division this year. I have no qualms about that. You know, the first three games on the schedule are the ones I really want to see at 3-0. I don't know if we will or not. But we go to Green Bay. Chicago comes our house. Then comes that Monday night game against the Ravens. To me, that's where we're going to see the Detroit Lions play. Another favor in our advantage this year. The bye week is in week number 8, not week number freaking 4. 4 or 5, whatever it was. It was 5. But that early in the season, that's just too early for anybody to have a bye week. Because you got 12 more games after that. They're playing 12 games in a row and trying to keep it together, being on the road, being at home, and all really good, tough games. So we'll get to that, but I'm seeing the third game, the Baltimore Ravens. That's the big one. That's a revenge game like no one's business. That's a revenge game like no one's business. When Tucker hit that field goal in 2022 and bring everybody down, was it last year or the year before? Baltimore just whooped our butt. We went down there, and we went down there with an attitude of we could beat anybody, which we could, but didn't show it that game. So those are the ones I'm looking at. When we're talking about division leaders, I'll go to the AFC first, and I'll say the AFC East. It's going to be the Buffalo Bills. Josh Allen's got a team put together. They're going to be very, very good. Don't anybody kid you. Pittsburgh's going to move along as best they can. I don't see the big world for them. I don't, because they got Aaron Rodgers for the quarterback. He's going to have a bad year. He had a bad year with the Jets last year. He's the most narcissistic person I've ever seen. Is Aaron Rodgers? Always an excuse. Nobody can hang out being around him. Nothing's ever his fault. So just narcissism all the way through. I just don't like the guy at all. I just don't. And then you got Cincinnati. Okay, you still got that great Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, right? You got a good defense in Cincinnati. We got them coming up too, and we go to their house, so that'll be a lot of fun. Um, the Ravens and the Cleveland Browns. Now they'll come to our house. I think this is probably the most troubled franchise in the NFL right now. They can't get away from Watson and his contract. They're getting people there as best they can to play. As a matter of fact, Shedeur Sanders will start for Cleveland this weekend. So we'll see how he kind of works in there. I hope he works fine. I do. I like Cleveland. I would love to see Cleveland and Detroit in the Super Bowl. That's just me. Both teams have such beautiful fan bases and have fought for years and years ago. And even we're bad, of course. Ford Field, the dog pound, they're always full. They're always full. And the fans always come out. Bags over the head or no. Then you go. Now, it's going to be interesting in the AFC too. I said the North is the Ravens, the East is Buffalo. South, I got to go Jacksonville. I don't like Atlanta this year. We'll find out maybe a little bit more about them Friday night because we play tomorrow night. We play them tomorrow night. So we'll see a little bit more about Atlanta. Brian Robinson, they do have a good team, but they somehow always just come up short. I'm looking at Jacksonville, and I think Jacksonville will take that one. And then you go to the West. This is the one. Oakland's not going to win it. I love the Oakland Raiders. It's Kansas City's to lose. That's the only thing we can say as far as that goes. It's Kansas City's to lose. The Colts ain't doing nothing. The Texans could sneak in there. So mine is a flip of the coin between the Houston Texans, which was what a game last year when we played in Houston. Oh my God, what a game that was! And because they said Goff had 5 interceptions, he had 2 interceptions and 3 volleyball games. That ball was bouncing around so much, whoever it landed with got it. So I wish they would stop that with the if the ball bounces, it's not an interception. Okay, it's not. Matthew Stafford got hit with so many of those. But I'm looking at the Texans. That'd be a lot of fun to see them take that. So we'll do that. Let's go over to the NFC. NFC East. The Giants with the new quarterbacks. I'd like to see Scatterbo from ASU. I want to see him playing it. But the Giants come to Detroit too, and I just don't see the Giants being all that good. They could be a surprise. They really could be a surprise. Then you go to the NFC North. No contest. It is Detroit, and it's not me playing Homer, right? It's not me playing Homer. J.J. McCarthy with the Minnesota Vikings. He's starting out. He's got a great team to play with, but how's he going to do after a year being hurt? And he's my blue. He's one of my blue guys. So, I hope he does well. You got the Packers, always a step short now. And it's not the coach's fault. It's not anybody's fault. They're just the one stop short. And we'll see that, of course, on September 7th when we open with the Packers. And we get them also Thanksgiving Day. So kudos to them. And my biggest thing on Thanksgiving is I like to see someone other than the division game on Thanksgiving. I want to see something different than that. Then the Bears. Now, everybody's talking about Ben Johnson. And Ben Johnson goes to the Bears, and he's had his troubles with the Bears. He comes from with the Dan Campbell tree of coaching. He wants tough, strong practices. And he wasn't getting them out of Caleb Williams. It wasn't getting them out of the rest of the team. He's apparently gotten pretty pissed off at everybody. So we'll see if he gets it together down there. I'm not seeing Chicago. My order in the NFC is the Detroit Lions, Green Bay Packers, Minnesota Vikings, Chicago Bears. Vikings and Bears are going to fight for last place. This is how I feel right now. We haven't played a whole lot yet. So, I still don't want to do that. The South. I got to go Jacksonville, like I said. And then the NFC West. Personally, I think it's the Rams to lose. I don't see anything else but that. I don't see it going anywhere else except for the Los Angeles Rams. They're a good team. I love them dearly and what have you, but still, it's just gonna make a rock and roll here to stay sort of thing. Let's take a quick break. I talked to some of my subscribers. QB Development over there on Indian Bend Road. All right. Anytime you need anything, a house, warehouse, redeveloped. Okay. They have a method to do it. They come over, they do the design right with you. They build right with you. You're welcome at any time. They're very good workers. QB standing for quality builders. You get to call. You can call either Barty or Brad, and they're always ready for you to do that. They're just a good guys, and you got to give them credit on building. A lot of people, the housing market's not the best in the world right now. It's just not, right? Their phone number is 602 830 9755. They're faith based. They have 6-step walk to completion of any project that you have in mind. Fair price, like I said, and very good. 602 830 9755. It's your dream for a place. It's something that you've always wanted. And let me go to another person I have in mind here now. Other people we got. Now, my guys from Arrowhead were at the game last week, came down and said hello at the game, and I love him dearly. Cole Louderman, he is a manager for the internet. So if you want to buy a car on the internet at Arrowhead BMW, and if you're thinking about a BMW, it's a Destiny car. It's a success status car. And it's why it's such a luxury item, and they're beautiful. We all know that. The warranties are off the chart. Every part is made. It's just a gorgeous place to buy a car. On the internet, give Cole Louderman, Internet Manager, a call, 309-339-1844. 309-339-1844. You got Eric Barra, who's one of my best buds in the world, and he was having a good time. He's the one that fell in love with the burgers down there. Him and Paul both just went crazy over. So you give Eric a call. New car, used car, CPO, they call them, certified pre-owned. They have a 172-point inspection on the car itself. It's as close to a new car as you're going to get because they only do it with BMWs, okay? And people have had only to be serviced at BMW, only use BMW products in the car, and it gives you that. Plus, they tack on a lot more warranty for a pre-owned car, certified pre-owned car. Arrowhead BMW, just off the 101 freeway in Union Hills Drive. And my other buddy, Paul Kettner. Paul is just the aces, man, at 480-334-8878. 480-334-8878. I go over to Wright Honda, and a wonderful good friend of mine there. You got Gibby and you got Rocky. These are two peas in a pod, best buds. Gibby has been solid selling cars for years. He couldn't make it Monday night because he had a late customer. He had to wait, and that's cool. That's what salespeople do. He had an appointment, all of a sudden come in and sold the car. So it made out to be a pretty good thing. So we were really glad to hear that. But give Gibby or Rocky a call at 480-778-2440. 480-778-2440. They'll always pick up the phone and give you a talk and see what you want. Hunter Bridgman is also there. Hunter is just a room commander. He just owns the room and he walks into it. He knows his stuff. Very detailed guy. Wonderful man to buy a car from, especially Wright Honda. The Pilot is going off like hotcakes right now. Everyone's favorite. Please give Hunter a call at 614-974-8770. And for the last one, Robbie Lemon, probably the most ultimate LA Rams fan I have ever known in my life. And he was so happy when Stafford went there. And he and I have been friends for a long time. And of course, we had the big discussion on the Stafford-Goff trade. Both sides came out perfect on it. We got a really good quarterback. We didn't have to use him as a bridge quarterback. Not a bridge quarterback, folks. And then Matthew, of course, got his Super Bowl ring with the Rams. I was really glad for that. And we all were. But now he's not Matthew Stafford line anymore. So you'll hear the boos. You'll hear we go to LA this year. We go to LA. And that's going to be pretty interesting little game there, ladies and gentlemen. I can't wait to see that. Robbie Lemon at Mark Kia. Get that Kia Soul, a really good family car. But give him a call at 480-425-5300. 480-425-5300. Robbie Lemon, all the guys I've talked to you about, all on the ball, all ready to go. So those are my good guys. Now, I want to come into this because I want to talk about something that a lot of people have been talking about, and that's the Lions' chances this year. The last couple of years now. Remember 2 years ago we lost to San Francisco in the NFC Championship game. That was a heartbreaker. And then last year, of course, going out with the Washington Redskins in the first game. That might still, and I will argue this till the day I die. There was no penalty call on Jared Goff when he got smacked into the helmet. Now, what's he going to the 10-4 to get shut for a concussion when that guy smacked him in the helmet with a helmet to helmet hit? That was nasty. Nothing was ever called on it. But it was also, I think, a mistake on the Lions' side to put him back in too quickly. Teddy Bridgewater is doing very well. Jameson Williams just ran for that fantastic 82-yard touchdown, but he was doing fine. They could have waited out till halftime, get the rest he needed during halftime, whatever he needed to get back and clear. Then he could have come out after halftime and maybe played a good, solid game. His throw was off. Everything was off. I was mad they put him back in too soon. He got smacked. He really got hit in the head. He got smacked. That's going to change this year. That'll change this year. I'm seeing the Lions as a much, much better team. And the 3 games, like I said, we win these 3 games, we get the number 1 seed. The Ravens on Monday night, and then both the Chiefs and Philly on Sunday night games. Those are the 3 big games I'm looking at this year that we're coming up against. Our own division, no, I don't see them as huge games. There's a couple other games that will, you're playing like Cincinnati, and you're playing Pittsburgh, you're playing Cleveland. Baltimore's the problem with that one right there. You just got to keep it that way. Then we got the NFC East. Philly's the hard game. I don't see the Giants. I don't see the Cowboys, and I don't see. Let's see, Philly, Giants, Cowboys. Oh, and the Redskins. We'll play them. We go to play them in their field too. So payback is everywhere. We'll be back real soon. I will have another show Sunday after the Atlanta game Friday night. Preseason football. Detroit Coney Grill, 6953 North Hayden Road. I will not be able to be there because I'll be working, but the crowd will be there. It's a football game. No people around just wanting to be there, right? So do me a favor. Have yourself a good night. Enjoy the weekend. I'll be back Sunday in the afternoon, 3 o'clock as usual, and we'll sign off right now. Everybody be good, be happy, and go Lions. Oh, did I end it? There we go. End stream. We got it now.